guys, today we are going to be looking at how to cut snowflakes. This is probably something a lot of you already know, but I have had a fair amount of questions about it. So I wanted to go through with you and help you get a little bit more familiar. Now I'm just starting with a piece of printer paper. Printer paper though is rectangular and I'd like it to be square. It doesn't have to be. It's just how I prefer it. Plus it's another trick to teach you guys. So if you fold the short side over to meet the long side and go flat against it so that when you fold it, it makes a point. It'll make an isosceles triangle. Or sorry, no. Ooh, right triangle. Silly Miss Walker. And you can either draw the line to cut. You'll notice you've got a square. Or you can just hold your scissors up against and cut that if you're pretty used to doing that. So I'm going to cut right along there to make my square. And then I'll have a paper with equal sides. So I'm going to fold it twice more. So I've got my first fold. Then I'm going to go corner to corner on the long side. I'm going to match them up. And then I'm going to very carefully push the paper down so that I make sure there's no strange folds in between. I'm going to crease it with my fingernail to help crush those paper fibers. Then I'm going to fold the long side again. Get it so that my corners are even and so that it's straight. And then I'll once again flatten out and push. And I'm creasing it with my nail. Another thing that you can use to help crease your paper, if you're like me and you don't have a lot of fingernails, is you can use a ruler. Or the back of a butter knife. Like one of those knives that is not sharp. I would not recommend using the side that has just a little edge to it, because then it might tear your paper. Now you can do two things. You can take this paper and go ahead and cut it. When you cut it, it's really important that you don't totally cut apart the folds. So we have folds on this side. So some of this pink needs to still be there when we finish. We need to make sure we leave this. And all of these are folds. So we absolutely need to make sure that we don't totally cut that apart. Up here, these are all edges. None of these are folds. So if I totally cut a line across, it's not going to be a big deal. It won't change it. So let's do the free cut, and then we'll try one that I've drawn out. So I'm going to come, I think I want to make this top a pattern. Okay. Now you'll notice I'm cutting with the back of my scissors. That's because you have more leverage and they're usually sharper there. Now I'm going to go and I'm going to cut out shapes in my snowflake. I am going to be careful that I leave space in between my shapes. So I'm going to plan for that so that I don't end up severing my snowflake. So there's one shape out. Put an ellipse right here. Then I think I do want one over here. And then I think I'm going to go back and forth with straight lines. Well, curved lines, kind of like one of those sprinkles that you get on yogurt. One key is that however many times you fold the paper, it's going to be a little bit harder to cut. So for example, if I had just folded it twice, it'd be a lot easier for my scissors to maneuver than if I folded it 4 times like I did. Another thing that I need to make sure of is that I am paying attention when I cut and I don't cut past to the fold. Now, if you want more intricate cuts, but you still want it to be folded that many times, one of the things you can do is get thinner paper. So I almost never work with anything thicker than printer paper, but I certainly don't want to use construction paper. A coffee filter, if your parents have coffee filters at home, is great. So now I'm going to unfold it. And we will see what we have. So there is my finished snowflake. And you can see where I marked the original triangle. Alright, now some people aren't very comfortable cutting just freehand. So this is going to be a design I've drawn out. I've drawn the edge of it for myself, and I've drawn the shapes I want to cut out. I've made sure that there are parts of my edge that are staying together. Alright, let's go. We're going to come and do this. Might be a little bit off on where I ended that, but I left the fold, which is the most important part. And that is the hard thing about drawing it beforehand, is that you are going to go, oh, I didn't totally get to that line, or I didn't make that exactly like I wanted. And that's okay. Remember, this is getting those scissor skills, and of course you can use your snowflakes for all kinds of stuff. And this is usable for any time you need to cut a symmetrical object. It helps if you've got thin pieces to hold closer to where you're cutting, not on top of, but closer, so that they don't move as much. If I just turn my scissors, they might shift on each other, and then I'm not cutting at the same time. Alright, I'm going to cut this shape. Cut 2 down here. 1. And 2. You'll notice I'm still leaving that edge, that fold. I'm not getting rid of it. I'm making sure that there's still some fold there, because that's how the snowflake's staying together. Okay, so here's the one we drew. There's what my pattern looks like. And now I'm going to open it up. And I'm being careful because, of course, it is more fragile now that it's cut. It's not that big piece of paper that we started with. And there is our second snowflake. So, you guys absolutely can do this. I'm excited to see what you come up with. I always love to cut these. Alright, see you guys later.